Check, check. Mic check. Check, check. Up. Oh, there we go. All right, cool. All right, do it. Do it. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Can you guys hear? Am I good on the Discord end? Like, do I sound like crackly or anything? Oh, we got it. We got it. All right, David. You don't understand. This. You could ask Vlad. I've almost punched my desk multiple times trying to figure out why it wasn't working. I think I figured it out. It's been a yeah. All right. So I'm ready to go if you guys are good. All right, let's do this. So let me just make sure I got chat up on my end. All right, chat's up on my end. I'm gonna do my best to try to keep up with as much as I can. So if I miss anything, guys, please let me know. But besides that, let's get going here. All right, everyone. Good afternoon. Good morning. I'm sure most of you are either tucked away in bed or getting ready to fall asleep. So let's see. Let's see if let's see if I can keep you guys awake. No, I'm kidding. Um, we're gonna have some fun. We're gonna go over some TA, some very exciting stuff, at least on my end. The way I view the market and how I think things are going as of now, I'm actually pretty darn excited. Things can easily turn around, make completely change my mind, and then we can just keep falling off a cliff. But based off of what I'm seeing and how I view things right now, to me, things are looking pretty good. So let's go over the setups. Let's go over what I'm currently doing. And that's pretty much, and we'll go over some other things, see what is available. Just overall how markets are looking in general. So let's go ahead and crack on to it. Why is okay. So let's start off with a blank slate here on BTC. Pretty much, going back to what I always like to do is the first thing I always do, especially like if I need a good refresher or if I need if I'm looking at a new chart, I like to zoom out on a pretty big time frame. Now, for me, this is much more of a macro time frame. For some of you, this might be a massive macro time frame, but for me, this is kind of like this is definitely a larger aspect of how I like to view the market. So from there, I kind of want to identify setups within the much larger structure or the much larger market that we're in, whether it's bull or bear, depending on what's going on. I like to just kind of see if I can put the pieces of the puzzle together, because that's pretty much all this really is. Imagine you take a bunch of pieces of a puzzle, you're sitting there on the floor trying to figure out how to start. This is basically the same concept for me. It's trying to figure out how the pieces fit. So for me, how these ABCs work, I like to find pretty much a ABC on a bigger scale, and within those waves, I like to find individual ABCs, and that when I can identify those little ABCs or the smaller ones in a larger structure, for me, that helps identify the bigger picture. So first, I'm going to do A to a B to a C here to start off with the A to a B to a C here for the B, and then the A to a B to a C. Now, the question is this is that C, the bottom of the C, the end, or is it possibly, we could be looking down, coming down and put in another leg to put in another ABC within the C. Now, this ABC is a lot larger than the ABCs within the A and the B. I can go ahead and identify that for you guys here. Let's see, A to a B to a C. And to me, when I view it like this and I see how the structures are playing out, it's not always perfect. It's not always a clear setup. But in this case and how things have been shaping up over the past, I think the bear market started pretty much about a year ago. All right. Well, at the beginning of November is when it started. So it's been almost a year. And to me, how this has been playing out, it's been looking very good. Now we're just kind of trying to figure out the last piece of the puzzle. So for me, uh, unless BTC puts in that lower low past let's see, what is it? Ballpark around like 17,550, 560. I'm going to assume that this bottom here was the bottom. So I'll just draw that like this. A to a B to a C. And pretty much from there, what's going on in price action right now? Well, that's the next step. The next step of the puzzle is to say, okay, if this is an ABC to complete a much larger structure, and this is possibly a turning point in the markets, what does price show me? And what's the possible next setups? And so that from there, I can go into a little bit more of a zoomed in time frame. You know, I'm always doing my zoom. When I say zoom in, I always do it in air quotes because to me, for most people, it's still a larger time frame. It's still a larger perspective. So if this is the bottom here, what is going on in this section of price action? All right. And for me to answer that or to me to figure that out, I kind of have to see what the wave structure looks like. So if this is the bottom, there's pretty much one main idea that I have at the moment, especially now that prices are holding the way they are. I'm going to lean a little bit more towards this. There's a couple of reasons why. To me, this one trend, you know, it's very choppy, but this continuous trend is an A. We do have an A to a B to a C to form a B. And now I think we're going to be working our way up to form some sort of C. And for this structure to complete, I need to see a higher high put in past that 25 to 25 area. I'll go ahead and mark that out for you guys just in case. I'm definitely leaning more towards we're definitely we might take a while to get up there, but I personally think we're on track to get towards those highs. Well, I gotta adjust my mount sensitivity. That's better. So if that's the case, the ABC within the B, which I'll go ahead and mark out here. I wanted to delete this. Come on. There we go. Is going to be a sorry guys. Sometimes I'm a professional. Sometimes. Let's see. A to a B to a C. And within that, there's definitely for me, there's a very solid ABC structure within the B. So if this is the ABC structure within the B wave, I'm going to mark that bottom of the A as pretty much my main pivot for this area price action. So as long as BTC is above that 18,450, I'm going to take longs. I'm going to be bullish, expecting this structure to play out. Now, there's alternatives to this. I'm 100% aware. But as of right now, I kind of have to wait to see how price develops. There's can easily be a situation to where price can start to pump. We can kind of form some sort of larger uptrend. And from there, we want to delete some of these lines to clear this up. We can easily get something like this. If this was an ABC, we easily get something to where we come up here and not actually get that higher high. If that's the case, I'm willing to 100% take a short depending on where that region stands. But ultimately, I have to see a very nice structure form, somewhat similar to the size of this. If I could see something like that basically form on the equivalent, on the uptrend here, and let's say price doesn't have the strength to get back above that high, I will go ahead and take a short off that. As of right now, I have to see how price is developing and see where the next step is or what the next step is. But as of right now, for me, I can't do anything besides be bullish, or maybe if I can find a short setup on something else, I'll go ahead and take shorts on that. But pretty much across the board, everything's looking fantastic from a bullish standpoint. If you're bearish, I'm sorry. You might be having a little bit of a hard time and coming up here. I don't know. I can't predict the market just based off what the market is showing me. It looks solid. So I'll go ahead and mark this level out for you guys. And at the end, I'll show you guys the trades that I'm in, because I have a lot more trades than I usually have open, and we'll go over that at a different point. But as long as price is above 18,450, I'm gonna go ahead and take long. I'm targeting at least there, or at least the 25,262. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to take profit. One of the biggest questions I get is, once you get into a position, a lot of people like to ask, where are you targeting? How do you figure out where you want to target your take profit? And I used to look at a couple different things. I still keep those areas in mind. Like, I always talk about the 0.5 to 0.441 region, kind of somewhere in the middle. For some reason, price likes to come up and at least test those levels. Doesn't mean that that's the top of that move. It really depends on the situation and the scenario. For me, let's see. The next step I kind of evolved from was basically taking profit once a certain structure was completed. So some sort of A to a B to a C. If let's say hypothetical, this setup formed and price did come back down, I would take profit in this region just in case that this is the end of a much larger structure. I've kind of evolved from that a little bit, and that's something that I've learned from reading Trader Tom's book. If you guys haven't read that, it's called Best Losers Win. But definitely go check that out. If you guys have any questions about that, or just you're curious about what that book is about, I'll go ahead and talk about that later. But one of the main points that I took away from that, besides like his approach to trading psychology, is letting your trades run and compounding those trades. And he does it in his own way, which to me, it doesn't really work for how I do things. But I kind of took that idea and that methodology, and I said, okay, how can I apply this, and how can I definitely compound and add to my positions and let them run? For me, now that I thought about this, and I've actually talked about this with Kite, we kind of had a very similar idea of how to make the best out of this, and we both kind of came up with the conclusion that this is probably the best way to play price action going forward, because there's been certain situations to where I've missed out on certain moves because I cut profits early, or because I took profits early, and I definitely could have made more out of price action, but I didn't. So how I'm going to approach this from now on is I'm going to hold this until it fails. I'm going to basically let this ride. The only other way that I will consider taking profit is, for example, let's say price does its thing. I can't sit here and say exactly how it's going to do it. Let's say it's, continues going up in some sort of fashion like this. And I'll just draw as like one continuous trend, just to simplify things. If price can give me a very nice setup that shows me, hey, we're pulling back, we're in a area to where either direction can play out, but I do have a large enough setup for me to show that, the market's pulling back in a healthy way, and it's definitely a good opportunity to ride the next wave up. I don't know if this is going to be the beginning of the bull market, but to me, I want to see something like this, to where once price gives me a good setup, another bullish setup to play off of, that's when I will go ahead and take profit on this position. I want to just mark this. Where the heck is, there it is. I'll take profit on this position, and I'll go ahead and enter off of this line again. And so that way it gives me a little bit of security to say, okay, if this structure plays, but let's say it fails, I at least I took advantage of taking profit at a responsible point. I can be able to go back and say, this was definitely a good position to play off of, and price decided not to hold. And let's say price decided to say, I don't care if you have a bullish setup. Things are not looking good. We're just going to continue going down. From there, I would also be playing shorts, and I'll be taking advantage of the potential larger move to the downside, just in case that is the alternative. And just approaching it from that perspective, definitely, I've been in scenarios to where I've done stuff like that. Up here on my main account, I've definitely taken advantage of taking profits, accumulating and adding to my position just by taking profits off of a similar structure that allows me to, oh shit, I didn't want to do that. Allows me to play into the continuation of the trend. So, for example, let's say this line was a short entry. I played the short, found another short entry, took profit on this one, played it again, and just let it ride. And it did the same thing. I didn't do that the entire way down. There's a couple positions where I just didn't do that. I took profit a little bit too early. But I definitely learned going forward that that's probably the best way to take advantage of price action from my perspective and how I play things. So, um, wow, that was a long way to explain that. That was pretty much it for BTC, I believe. I'm trying to think if I missed anything. That's pretty much it. I'm gonna mark this level out long as price is above here. I definitely would say the odds or the probabilities of price at least coming up testing, low 25k, low to mid 25k, definitely are a lot higher. And I think it's more of a, I don't want to say a definite, but the odds are definitely increased in my opinion. There's really nothing significant, and I'm looking for a larger structure to build. Doesn't mean I'm going to be bearish overall. It just means that it gives me a short opportunity to take a hedge off of and lock in my profits just in case that is the scenario. If the market show weakness up here and let's say it can't sustain that high or push higher and it fails, and let's say this is a much larger downturn, it's where we might go to those lower figures. Like, people are talking, 12 to 10K. I'm not saying I'm leading that direction, but if price wants to do that, this will be the setup to actually go ahead and do that off of. It's definitely going to build a lot of more momentum to the downside, and it's going to definitely have the strength to carry over down if this fails. So until that happens, that's the game plan. That's how I'm approaching it. Let's go ahead and talk about some other positions / coins that I am playing at the moment. Let's see. I am on ETH. So ETH had a very similar setup as well. It had a fantastic completion of a C leg, in my opinion. So just going, refreshing my chart. To me, I see this as a most likely a larger A to a larger B, and we're gonna be either, this is just a pullback to where we start a much larger bullish trend, or this could be a setup for a much larger ABC structure that's going to be a little bit bearish and could possibly take us even lower. I'm not too sure how exactly that's going to play out. That's how I'm putting the pieces of the puzzle together, in my opinion. So if that is the case, and this is what I'm looking for, I have to kind of focus on, come on, this area price action here. Why is it not deleting? Kind of have to focus on this area of price action here. And from there, I can figure out how I'm going to get into a position and play into that scenario, or basically play into the next upswing if price wants to do that. So in order for me to do that, we're going to look at this area price action just based off of what I see here. There is a fantastic ABC to an A. There's another A, B, C to a B. And then this is going to complete a much larger A, B, C to form a C. Now I could sit here and draw ABCs within this all day. And I'll just kind of just show you guys quick what it looks like when it's completed. So from there, that looks solid. And I'll take the bigger structure and replace it with, oh, come on. And replace it with, what's up? Well, it gets very repetitive, unfortunately. If there's another way, maybe I'll coin my own version of this. Who knows? Swing failure patterns already been taken, so I can't use that. That's a good one. So I'll see. Maybe down the line, if anyone has a good idea of what to call this, I'll throw you a bone if I like it. But yes, ABCs do get a little repetitive. So basically, once you clear all that up and put the pieces of the puzzles together, this looks like a very nice pullback. So if you're going to play into this pullback, me personally, I took a position off of ETH down here. Where is that 1215 area? And I kind of I goofed. I kind of made a mistake here. I was messing around. I accidentally changed my leverage. I didn't realize this. I was trying to quickly enter in position. I only enter with like, I think like 80% of a full position, so 0.8% risk. I'm not mad. I wanted to get a full position out here. It's not that much more than it already is. So maybe if it comes back down here, you retest, I might add the rest. If not, maybe I'll open up a separate position up here and not really bank on the other 20% of the trade to work out. But as long as ETH is above 1215, because we put in that lower low, that is definitely a go ahead for me to start being a little bit more bullish on ETH, as the structure looks a lot more completed to me. And if that is the case, it needs to definitely get over that 1420 level for me to kind of confirm more of a bullish bias. And if that does happen, the next target I'm looking to see how it reacts to is that about that 2039. But also keep in mind, when I mention these levels, I'm not going to be taking profit at these resistances. I'm simply going to look for setups up here, and if I can short it and give myself a little hedge just in case this is a much larger downturn, I'll go ahead and do that. And at this point, the entries are so far apart that I'm going to be locking in whatever profit I have anyway, and I definitely will be taking advantage of the momentum regardless of which direction it is. If ETH gets up here, plays around and doesn't necessarily hold, but it keeps going up, I benefit from the long. Or if ETH gets up here and shows signs of weakness, doesn't want to hold, I'll take a short, ride it down. If it fails, great. I'll be able to capitalize off of the short. And most likely, if that's going to be the overall bigger direction of where markets are going to go, later in time, I'm definitely going to be trying to take advantage as much, how do you say it? Take advantage of price action as much as I can. And it really depends on where it's going to go, but I'm going to hold that short for a while. It really depends on how things are going to play out in the future, but I'm just kind of, giving a little bit of insight on how I would possibly play this once price does further develop. So from there, same thing as BTC. I probably will not take profit on this long anytime soon unless I get another setup to where, let's say we pump, the same thing. If we can get a nice ABC, it doesn't have to be down there, but let's say if it goes up a little bit higher. If we can get a nice ABC, something like that, that's very respectable in size. It doesn't have to be exactly that big, but to me, if I can zoom out on like a 1 to 2 hour time frame and see a nice setup, I will go ahead, take profit on this long and re-enter up here. That way, it'll give me a better chance to ride the momentum, continuing the upside. Or, let's say, like I said before, let's say price gets up here and it shows weakness and it fails. It comes back down here. I can definitely still take the short, even though I took profit on long. I might have lost a little bit trying to play this entry, but overall, the market's going to make a much larger decision, and I get to benefit off it regardless. So, that's the plan going forward. I really have to just wait and see how price develops. And to be honest, this is probably this area of price action to where we get a nice developed structure, or at least a more developed direction. It's going to take a long time. So I'm willing to hold this. I'm sitting pretty. I'm doing okay. I'm looking forward to what's going to happen. And let's see from there. Who knows? Maybe I'm dead wrong. If I'm dead wrong, great. I'm still holding my shorts. Oh, that's another thing I forgot. I was doing so good. I forgot to talk about this. So I think I mentioned this previously last time or last week's session. If not, if you guys have watched the live streams at all within the last say week or so, the only thing I want to say for BTC before I forget is I am currently holding a short off of this setup here. Now, if price maintains below here, I'm going to go ahead and remain bearish. But of course, as this lower low is put in and then things are, we got that nice healthy bounce, I'm not banking on that opinion. But I am going to hold it just in case, because for me, I'm willing to get stopped out and lose a little bit just to have more of a certainty of where the direction is what direction the markets are going to go, or at least BTC in this case. And for me, I'm also locking in the profits I made from up here. So it's a win-win for me. So I just wanted to touch on that before I move on to back to ETH. ETH, there's no shorts. That's pretty much it for Ethereum. I'm holding longs based off of this level. I'll go ahead and mark that out for you guys. You know, the next level, the next major level I'm going to be targeting to play anything significant is probably going to be up here, you know, at that 2028. Let's see. And that's about it for ETH. What else is there? Let's go over Ripple here. So I am in an XRP short still. Same thing as BTC. I took it off a little bit of a smaller structure based off of this, just to hedge myself, just in case price wanted to really dump. But you know, based on my personal bias and how things are playing out, I am not banking on this, but I'm not going to take profit because I think a certain way. I'll let myself get stopped out, and I'll let price make that decision for me. You know, if I take profit here, we continue to dump. You know, it goes back to what I said before. You're cutting yourself short early, especially when you're looking at larger time frame moves, depending on either direction. So how I'm approaching this and how I'm seeing things go to, you know, how I'm seeing things play out, I am going to hold this just in case this is going to be some sort of larger pullback. I don't really know where wants to really, you know, there's different areas to support here. I'm kind of just going to see how it plays out. I'm pretty much just holding it just in case. I really have no set plans on taking profit anytime soon, just in case, but that's just me. That's pretty much it for XRP. I mean, you do have the availability of this setup here. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. You have the possibility of this setup here. In case price does want to dump down further, that is a possible long setup that you can take. But you know, you gotta wait for that low. You gotta wait for that low to be broken. Once that low is broken and gets reclaimed, then you can go ahead and take a long off of XRP. That's pretty much it, though. I don't really plan on playing anything else besides that short that I mentioned. And that's about it. I'll go over to we'll go over Litecoin because I am in a Litecoin position. So Litecoin is very interesting. It's played out a little bit different than, you know, ETH and BTC. On a much larger time frame, you do have you know, kind of similar to BTC, even though I said it was different. Larger ABC to the downside. The question is it done here, or are we possibly coming for the lower low? I personally think that we're most likely done down there, but the availability of a lower low is always possible. I'm not writing it off. I'm just kind of just going based off of what price is looking like now and what the possibilities are coming up. So if that is the case, you do have an A to a B to a C. All right. And this is, I'll mark this out on a larger scale here. So that is the larger structure. And if this is going to be 1A, I need to find a B wave with, an ABC within the B. So for me, I really like this a lot as a ending structure for a B. And then I'm going to be targeting higher. The first thing I'm going to be looking for is a test of that 67.56. Doesn't mean I'm going to take profit. I'm just looking at that area to test, and I probably most likely take some sort of hedge position. I'm sorry, that was a tongue twister for me. Really depends on how things shape up. But that's the first level. Same thing, you know, if LTC keeps going and eventually forms some sort of ABC that's respectable in size as a respectable pullback, I kind of had to gauge how it goes. I will go ahead and take another long, and I will exit this long setup that I took, the entry being, actually, you know, I don't know if I mentioned that. I think I did. The entry for that is going to be $49.70. Well, just above $49.75, so $50 around there. Okay, well, $49.95. I got it at around 50. I have to check my entry on Bybit. I got it around there, and I'm just going to hold this and see what happens. Hopefully it does well, but I've been wrong before. So that's pretty much it for LTC. There's no available shorts at the moment. that's the only structure I'm willing to play, and that's about it. Someone mentioned Solana, which I did actually manage to get into. I have to find my entry again. I don't remember exactly off the top of my head, but same thing for as BTC. This definitely has the availability of being a much larger A to a B to a C, something like that. Within the B wave, you do have a very, very nice setup here. So as long as Solana is above 29.95, I definitely will go ahead and take longs and be a little bit more bullish on a, wouldn't say longer time frame, but a medium to longer time frame. Targets for that, the first place I really want to see get tested is at that 48.93. Oh, sorry, 48.39. From there, will I take a head short? I don't know, because I don't want to take too many trades. That's something I'll mention later on too, as I'm wrapping this up things up for crypto, is that you don't want to find yourself taking too many positions on one side. I've managed to go completely against what I said. I'll show you guys here in a moment what you guys shouldn't be doing. Or if you're going to do it, at least structure it a certain way. And we'll talk about that here in a moment. But that's pretty much it for Solana. I have to, as long as Solana is above that $30.01, I'm going to go ahead and remain bullish. I'm going to target that 48. And from there, I need to find another availability of a good setup, something relative in size as the market decides to pull back, wherever it does decide I want to pull back. And I'll go ahead and re-enter, or I'll take profit here and then re-enter up here. So that's pretty much the plan for me going forward. I'm in my positions and I'm just sitting back, watching, just letting it happen, letting it rip. I think it's it that's it for positions. Let's see if I can pull this up. While I'm doing that, do you guys have any questions for me? Please let me know. If you guys are watching the stream on David Tech's live stream channel or Twitch, also feel free to ask as well. I got my eye on chat, so let's see if I could do this. Oh, maybe you know what? Maybe not, because I don't know if the VPN, if I turn on the VPN, it's gonna mess with the stream. All right, maybe I'll at the end I'll pull it up. Oh, I do have another method though. What's the name of this app I have on here? I forgot the name of it. I'll find it. All right, we'll move on from there though. Let's see. Does anybody else have any questions for me? I'll just take a check on chat real quick. All right, looks like we're all good. All right, so I'll go ahead and we'll move over to traditional markets. What's the name of that? What the heck is it? Nope, don't mind the terrible desktop notification organization or desktop icon organization. I do not put stuff in folders as I should. I forgot the name of this app. All right, we'll move on to traditional markets while I try to remember. So, traditional markets are looking very good as well. So, the only reason why I say that is because I've had, in this case for the SPY, I've had this level at 362.41 pretty much marked out for the last week or so, I would believe, maybe 2 weeks. And I said, once price gets back below, and if it can get back above and sustain above that, to me, that is a green light. That is a much larger bullish signal to me, just for the S&P in general. I personally don't take trades, or I don't trade the S&P, but just looking at this, I think this looks fantastic from an ABC perspective. You have this much larger A here to a B to a C, and as long as the S&P can remain above 362.41, I think that looks fantastic, especially with, everyone being so bearish. Of course, I think is it a CPI meeting? I don't remember what the name of the meeting was, but correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure it was a CPI meeting, especially with the CPI information coming out. Inflation numbers are coming out. Everyone's screaming bearish. To me, the perfect storm, or at least a perfect recipe, would be, everyone to be bearish, everyone to think, we're going lower. we do get an actual dip based off of the news, but the fact that we had such a strong recovery, I don't think a lot of people were expecting that. And definitely if people were trying to front run shorts, try to get in or get out of the markets and, basically have the markets pump against them. I personally think this is a fantastic way to reverse, or a fantastic point to reverse in markets in general. So if this level is respected and maintained and we can maintain above, the next step is, I have to see how price develops. You do have this pocket of like area support / resistance here to test. I do like this as a region to be test. Maybe we come up here and just reject. Who knows? But for me, as long as the S&P is above that 362.41, the next step is around that 424. If not, I want to see that 479.93 level be broken. And from there, we can make another decision on whether, maybe the markets are going to be a little bit more bearish on a longer term. We'll have to see. But I'm taking things level by level. So hopefully things play out. It definitely looks good in my book. And we'll move on to the Dow Jones. Very similar situation for the Dow. As long as the Dow can remain above that 29,633, around that area, I definitely am going to be a little bit more bullish in the longer term. I don't necessarily think that it's going to be, a bull run of the century. Maybe it will be. We'll have to see how things play out. But as long as it remains above there, the first area of the test is like kind of we're in the middle, like in this area, like at around 33,500. And from there, the ultimate high I'm looking to be tested and probably most likely break is probably 37,000, 37,025 around there. So that's what I'm looking for. If we can get a much larger setup, something like this. Come on, fit in the screen. There we go. If we can get a much larger setup like this, that's fantastic, but also kind of scary at the same time. We'll have to see how things play out. But for now, in the near future, I personally think things are going to look good. Let's see what happens. I'll fall on that sword if I'm wrong. I've been wrong before, so I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. I'll go over the DXY next. DXY looks like it dumped, which possibly could have been a part of the reason why prices were pumping. We do have the availability of. Ultimately, I was looking for this kind of setup. I was looking for that high to be broken. So maybe we can still come up there. Who knows? Sorry, I had to take a drink. If this setup is available, I'm looking for that high at about 114.75, 115 area to be broken. And from there, if the DXY can come up here and basically, not hold this upper region, come back below, I definitely will be a lot more bearish on the DXY. I'm not saying I can't be bearish on the DXY now. The other alternative is to maybe that we're kind of doing something like this, to where maybe this is some sort of larger A to a B to a C. And from there, we can get that ultimate, or at least a larger structure developing up to reclaim that 114, 115 area. And then from there, I can look for larger downside, or we can just keep falling. I really don't know. But ultimately, on a much uber macro scale, I don't know why I said that twice, on a much larger gigantic macro scale, if the DXY falls below 103, I definitely will be a lot more bullish on markets in general. That definitely showed signs of weakness of the dollar, and I'll kind of have to see how things play out from there. But those are the levels I'm looking for. Let's see. I believe that's pretty much it for the DXY. Yeah, I'll go ahead and move over to ES is the same thing. It needs to maintain them about 3640. If it can get up there, it'll test around this region around 4,250. And then ultimately, the next level I want to be tested is that 4820 level. So US 100, same thing. US 100 is slightly different. Currently, it's below the A. Who knows? I know certain index funds, the charts, they're a little bit different. So we'll see how this plays out. But if it can reclaim above that, 11,046, 11,050 level, I definitely would be a little bit more bullish. I'm still bullish regardless. Let's see. Let's do gold. And if you guys have any questions, please feel free to chime in. Don't be afraid to stop me. It's an I don't necessarily trade. I more like kind of maybe buy and hold. The only thing I actively buy is AMD because I'm a big AMD fanboy. I love the chips. I just like the way how they're basically not taking over, but I personally like AMD products more. So besides that, I really like I don't actively like use any sort of leverage. I don't trade options or anything like that. Mostly anything traditional market wise, I will go ahead and just buy and hold. I know someone who likes the S&P, so he's asked me for advice. I actually told him today to buy a little bit. Um, I think the S&P looks good, and pretty much even if I do, like I'll even when I do take positions, I pretty much just sprinkle. Like I'll do mostly just spot trading. I'll just buy and hold. I don't actively use any sort of leverage or I don't try to short any of these stocks just because I just don't like the way shorting is approached in traditional markets. So mostly just lists just to kind of just show you guys, and this is basically what you guys have asked for. Is also a combination of like the bigger funds, like the bigger ETFs. So if you guys have any recommendations, I'll go ahead and add to this. This is mostly just to kind of show me different charts in traditional markets and see how things are looking overall. Same thing with like gold and silver. That's why I threw that in there as well, because I know it's something we take a look at every once in a while. So yeah, that's it, Scopes. Unfortunately, I'm not that in I don't how do I say this? That's a lot of eggs in one basket for me, trying to manage like stock trades, commodities trades, and also crypto as well. Um, so gold, let's see what gold has done. So gold has this set up here. Did it put in that low here? I can't tell. No, it looks like it just did a double bottom. A to a B to a C. And obviously on a much more massive time frame, like I'm talking like a monthly, you do have this ABC availability on a bearish ABC. So keep that in mind. The thing is with these larger structures, especially like on a monthly time frame, this pump has been going on for what, '01, so literally over 20 years. Just keep in mind that these levels that I give, especially this macro, there's going to be a little bit of wiggle room, a little bit of leeway. So let's see. There's going to be a little bit of leeway when it comes to approaching this. And if you're going to be bearish, just keep in mind that there definitely is an availability of another pump up to new highs. The only reason why I say that is because if I go to like even a 2 hours too zoomed in. I never thought I would say that. Let's see. Wow, I can't even 12. Okay. So you do have an actually I might have to go to a 2-day. Let's go to a 2-day. Yeah. So you do have something like this that's definitely in the cards. You have a larger A to an A to a B to a C, and then another pump up before gold maybe possibly has a much longer term reversal. Just keep that in mind if you are going to trade gold. This know that this high here that I pointed out is definitely there's going to be a little bit of wiggle room, and it's not going to be exact. It's more of like a region. So if that is the case, if I go to like a little bit more zoomed in time frame, if this is going to be a B, I do have an A to a B to a C here. Let me just clear this up so it's not too confusing. Come on. There we go. So if gold can remain above that 1676, I'm definitely going to be a little bit more bullish, looking for at least another high to be put past that 2075. From there, I probably would potentially look at taking some sort of short if you can. But definitely give yourself a little bit of breathing room when it comes to setting up trades on gold. Just because I've even though it moves slow, the swings on it, I feel like there's a lot more breathing room, like I mentioned before. So I think price could definitely move a little bit before respecting certain levels, just like how it's doing here. You might have a little bit of play in this region until it makes a decision. So just keep that in mind. Let me just change this color to red. I'll go ahead and mark this out for you as the availabilities for certain bullish and bearish structures come on. There we go. Wrong button. All right. So that's pretty much it when it comes to gold. I'll take a look at silver. Silver is very similar setup. It really depends on how this really wants to play out, but I'll go ahead and go out. Actually, I forgot. I have to go to like a monthly on silver as well. This is a multi-decade. I'm pretty sure. Is anyone here born in 1979? I doubt it. So if you're around in 1979, you definitely would experience that first high. You do have a ginormous, monstrous ABC on silver. I'll probably, I think we'll all be long and gone before we see an actual much larger bear market. I just don't think that this level is going to be respected exactly. It has been so far, but I kind of see this as a possibility as well. Maybe silver comes down here for one more low and it puts in a little bit of a higher high. And for me to confirm that statement, I want to see silver come down and break below that $11.75. Actually, let me get it more exact. Yeah, around that like $11.80 level. If it can get back below and reclaim, I definitely would put the idea of this being on the table first, or a little bit, how do I say this, in favor. In order for me to see, let's see if I can go down like an 8 hour and dissect this a little bit more. Wow, I forgot. I have to go to like a 2 day. Uh, so what I do see based off of this, if that's going to happen, you do have an A to a B to a C here to form an A. You have an A to a B to a C here to form a B, and then another low possibly to come down there. And then this B could come up like that and definitely take out that most recent high. And then from there, it can definitely overturn and come down a little bit more. So just keep those levels in mind when you're looking at silver. That's pretty much it for that. Does anybody else have any questions for me? Well, because we're going to go over a couple more things here. I just realized that she didn't change this back to red. All right, so just keep those in mind, and then understand the overall bigger picture. All right, so let's see. Let's take a look at. Let's double check chat. All right, we're good. Tesla. Let's do Tesla. Oh God, I forgot I was on a 2 day. 8 hour. Oh, still too big. 4 hour. We're getting there. We're getting there. Well, would you look at that, folks? Tesla decided to put in its lower low. Now, doesn't mean that it's the low, but I have to approach it as if it was just in case. Yeah, it did put in that lower low. So if Tesla is above 206.90, I definitely like that as a level, and I'm looking for probably this area of resistance to be tested first. If not, I want to see if that gets broken through. I want to see that high of 415 to be tested and probably broken to form a much larger setup. I'll go ahead and show you guys what that looks like here in a moment. So let's see. To me, this is gonna look like one continuous A to a B and then to a C. Now that C can easily just keep going. I don't know. But if we, put in a higher high and don't hold strongly above that, or it shows weakness, if we come back down below, definitely a little bit calls for science to be a little bit bearish on Tesla. But let's see how that plays out in the future. Yeah, that can absolutely have an effect on. That's why, like, I view things from a chart perspective to get overall like an idea of like what the price looks like. But it's also like when it comes to like electric cars, like you said before, there's chip shortages and there's definitely there's struggling to, manufacturers are struggling to get parts in general. That's kind of specific to the automotive industry, or at least that aspect of it is. So definitely can have an effect on Tesla to where it might play out differently than other stocks, or just differently than how some markets might overall develop. It might develop completely different. So who knows? But I absolutely agree that definitely stuff like that can be taken into consideration. All right. All right. I believe that's everything I wanted to look at. I mean, I have this BTCS someone mentioned to me. It's ooh. Apparently it's a Bitcoin stock. I'm not really going to look over this right now, just because I think other coins have better structure. Someone just pointed it out to me, so I put it on my list just in case. All right, so I'll go ahead and turn it over. If you guys have any other questions for me, I'm going to. I want to. I don't know if I'm going to try. I'll see if I can pull up the app I was using, or at least I can find a way to get a screenshot of the positions I'm in. So if you guys have any other questions for me, please feel free to ask. Hey, it means that. Wouldn't be the first time. Um, Thank you. Anybody else got anything for me? It doesn't have to be ABC stuff. It can be trading. It can be um anything related to that. Hit me. What do you got, Scopes? On BTC? Oh, like back here, like uh-huh. No, I completely closed this out and add it to this. Well, I mean, there's another thing you could do. Sometimes like I know um somebody has asked me, this is a great question. Somebody's asked me this in the past. I was like, hey, like, is there any other way we can do this without closing the short? And it really depends, because the reason why I do it is to give a little bit more validity to that setup. And like I said before, like for example, let's say we didn't dump here. Let's say price found good, strong support, and we had another push higher. At least you're able to take profit and not lose out on anything else on that pump. Another reason why I also um, do that is it allows you to compound. So let's say, like, I don't know, for example, let's say you made let's say 10% on your account. Now, when you re-enter this, you can actually go into the next trade with a little bit more margin. Then in turn, you will actually make more money on this on the way down. Another thing you could do is I've had people tell me that, for example, let's say this top here, they opened a short on inverse perpetual. So on Bybit, you have BTC USD. It's based on Bitcoin pairing. They've opened up a short there, and then when it came down here, they went over to US Bitcoin USDT and opened up another short there. You could do that as well. So that's another way to play it. Just me personally, I like the compounding effect of doing that. So I think it's just easier for me to play it as I see it and take my trades out and then re-enter on a good setup. Yep, at the red line. So I won't close it. I'll close it at the red line and immediately re-enter on the entry. Great question. All right, let me show you. I managed to pull this up. Let me find this. So let me show you guys how many trades that I'm in. Do not do this. Where is it? Be better than this. Why can't I pull this? I might have to. Oh, do I have to do this? Yeah, I'm gonna have to do this. I took a little screen recording. I'll pause at the right time. So I have a SOL long, a BTC long, a BTC short, an ETH long, XRP short, and an LTC long. I used to back in my crackhead days, I used to have maybe it's like 12 positions open at some point. I think it was the most. I think 14 was the most I've ever had at one point open. And the problem with doing that is, unless you're spreading your risk out accordingly, you can easily get yourself into a situation to where you are risking way too much on one side. So if you're opening up 10 longs, and let's say the market goes against you, but let's say you're using like 0.5% and 1% on each, you just lost 6 to 12% of your account depending on how you risked. So me personally, I don't like to get myself into too many trades. The only reason why I'm in that trade is because I messed up on the margin on ETH. So I decided to kind of compensate for by taking an LTC long, and then from there I also took a SOL long. So I basically take two of those trades and kind of combine them into one. So, and maybe on other coins, like I'm trying to figure out maybe if there's a better way to do this. I kind of have to see maybe prioritizing, maybe using a little bit of a less risky setup on smaller coins. Maybe that could be a valid way to do it. The most important thing is if you guys are going to open up multiple positions, just make sure that at the end of the day, when you look at how much you're risking per trade, make sure you're not risking way too much. I would say like your overall risk exposure should be maybe 2% tops across, if you have 6 trades, all your trades should be equivalent to risking about 2%. That's probably the most I would go, but try to stick to 1%. But most of the time when I trade using 1% risk anyway. So 14 trades open at one time. Yeah, that was my record. Oh my God. That's insane. Oh my God. That is insane. Oh, right. Does anybody else have? I don't think I missed anything while I was trying to get that together for you. Does anybody else have any questions for me? Thank you so much as well. I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for stopping in, listening to what I have to say, asking good questions. Thank you, Dave. I appreciate that. Yeah, next week I'm definitely gonna be doing a London session. I'm aiming for Monday. If that works, I'll figure it out between you and Vlad. If hopefully that works out. There you go. this this one's on the house. Oh no. Oh, congratulations. That's awesome. There you go. That's definitely kids are definitely a priority. All right. I know I know I oh yeah, absolutely. Good luck tomorrow. All right. I know it's late. You guys are probably falling asleep, so I'm not going to keep you guys any longer unless you guys have anything else for me, but I appreciate you guys very much. If you guys want more content like this, I stream twice a week on my YouTube channel. I'm sure a lot of you guys here are subscribed. If you aren't, I would appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, asking great questions, coming to hang out and just, having a good time. Thank you. Definitely. Of course. Oh, that'd be, oh, I can't wait to show off the P&Ls from this. Hopefully, because we've been going sideways for so long. I'm sick of it. Yeah, it's for me, it's a little bit harder to um because I view it as such a much larger time frame, it's kind of hard for me to re-enter if I get out too early. So I really have to be concrete with the entries that I take and be, just stick to it. Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Who knows? I mean for me it'll be weeks, months probably. Of course. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. You too. Have a good night. Bye-bye.